In the gentle twilight that drifted over the world of ancient Greece, the sky above Mount Olympus glowed with a pale, soothing light that softened the great mountain's ridges. The air was clear, touched by the faint scent of pine warmed by the day's sun. As dusk deepened, the halls of the gods settled into a quiet, shimmering calm, their marble columns catching the last glints of evening as though holding onto the fading day. Yet beneath this serene exterior, the immortal beings who dwelled here carried within them an ever-shifting tide of thoughts, desires, and quiet conflicts. The gods of Greece, for all their grandeur, lived in a way that mirrored the people who told their stories. They felt hunger for attention, longing for honor, and the soft prick of jealousy when another received praise. Even immortality did not smooth away such feelings. Instead, it preserved them across ages, letting each emotion flow again and again like gentle waves washing the same shore. On this particular evening, the gentle heart of Olympus throbbed with a mild tension. Not the thunderous fury that mortal poets sometimes described, but a subtle hum, like the soft vibration of a lyre string plucked just a little too sharply. This was the kind of discord that often stirred among the gods, born not from malice, but from their deep involvement in the world, their closeness to mortals, and their own complex natures. A soft breeze drifted through the grand hall where Hera sat upon her polished seat, watching the slow unfurling of night beyond the doorway. Her eyes, usually sharp with vigilance, were calm but contemplative this evening. Around her, the faint aroma of lilies lingered in the air, a reminder of her role as guardian of marriage and the quiet bonds between families. Yet she knew well that harmony was a fragile thing. Even among gods, it wavered like a flame in a shifting breeze. Footsteps approached, light, quick, and unmistakably youthful. Hermes entered with his traveler's cloak draped loosely around his shoulders, the soft sound of his sandals echoing through the hall. His expression was relaxed, though his eyes were bright with the energy of someone who had moved between realms all day. "Hera," he said in a voice as smooth as worn river stone, "your husband is speaking with Poseidon again. I thought you might wish to know." She did not sigh, for sighing seemed too heavy an act for an immortal. Instead, she let her eyes drift toward the darkening sky outside. Zeus and Poseidon rarely argued with bitterness. More often, their differences rose like small ripples, each of them accustomed to command, each possessing domains vast and magnificent. Thunder and sea had their own languages, their own rhythms, and at times those rhythms clashed. "What is it this time?" Hera asked softly. Hermes smiled in a neutral, almost apologetic way. "A matter of storms. Poseidon wishes the winds to shift southward tomorrow. Zeus, however, is considering a northern wind to clear the air around the isthmus." The problem was almost mundane, the sort of matter that mortals might encounter in a family of farmers debating the best day to sow grain. Yet among gods, even simple differences held weight. Their influence reached across mountains, seas, harvests, and the fates of countless mortals. Hera nodded slowly. "It will settle. It always does." Hermes left with a small bow, his footsteps fading along the polished floor until the hall grew quiet again. Hera remained still, listening to the evening settle deeper into Olympus. Far below, the mortal world glowed with tiny pockets of lamplight, villages finishing their meals, shepherds guiding flocks toward shelter, families gathering around hearths as night wrapped softly around them. Hera's gaze softened. Mortals quarreled for many reasons. Small misunderstandings, wounded pride, desires unmet. The gods were no different, though their quarrels echoed across wider landscapes. A gentle breeze shifted again, carrying with it the faint sound of laughter outside the hall. Aphrodite walked by, her steps slow and graceful, her hair catching the lamplight in a warm, rosy shimmer. She paused when she noticed Hera. "Is Zeus troubled tonight?" Aphrodite asked in a voice as calm as evening waves. "Not troubled," Hera replied, "only stubborn." Aphrodite smiled knowingly. "Then the mountain remains unchanged." Despite their occasional tensions, Hera felt no sting in Aphrodite's remark. She had learned long ago that even the goddess of love carried her own share of desires and insecurities. Her influence over hearts made her powerful, but also brought endless entanglements. One mortal's affection could ripple into rivalry. One god's admiration could stir unease. Love, after all, was seldom simple, even for divinity. As Aphrodite moved on, the hall grew quiet again. The soft glow of oil lamps flickered along the walls, painting gentle patterns of gold that danced across the marble. Hera rose from her seat and stepped outside, breathing in the cool night air. Above, the sky shimmered with stars, steady, silent, ancient companions to Olympus. Not far away, Zeus and Poseidon stood on a terrace overlooking the mortal world. Their voices were low, not raised, but they carried a slight tightness that hinted at disagreement. Zeus stroked his beard thoughtfully as Poseidon leaned on his trident with calm insistence. Their postures reflected their natures. Zeus steady and contemplative, Poseidon firm and unyielding as the sea he ruled. Hera watched quietly for a moment, not interfering. She knew that their quarrels, though frequent, were rarely lasting. Brothers often differed in their visions, especially when their realms brushed against one another. A storm on the sea could affect the sky. A change in the winds could shape the tides. The gods did not quarrel out of spite. Rather, their domains overlapped so intimately that harmony required constant adjustment. As she approached, their voices softened even further. Poseidon glanced at her, offering a respectful nod. Zeus did the same, though Hera sensed in him a faint hint of fatigue from the day's discussions. "Will the mortals notice the winds so sharply?" Hera asked, her tone mild. Poseidon tapped the marble floor with his trident. "Fishermen will, and ships traveling from Corinth." Zeus tilted his head thoughtfully. "But the northern winds will clear the storm clouds gathering near Attica." Hera considered their points, listening not only to their words, but to the spaces between them. She could feel the tension, not harsh, but persistent, like a soft rope pulled in two directions. Both gods sought what they believed would best guide the mortal world. Both acted from duty, from pride, and from a desire for their influence to be seen and respected. "The winds," Hera said gently, "do not need to choose all at once. They can shift slowly. Let the morning favor Poseidon's wish, and by midday, let the breeze turn northward, clearing the sky while still giving the fishermen time to reach calmer waters." Zeus and Poseidon glanced at each other, neither fully yielding, but neither resisting. Hera's suggestion created a space where both could maintain dignity, where harmony might settle back into place. Poseidon nodded first. A slow shift, then. Zeus's expression softened. "Very well." The tension eased like a tight knot slowly loosening. Hera felt the air around them grow lighter, as though Olympus itself exhaled in relief. The gods did not always agree, but their disagreements often found resolution in quiet compromises such as this, small adjustments that allowed each to maintain a sense of importance, a sense of presence in the world below. As her husband and Poseidon parted ways to tend to their domains, Hera walked further along the terrace. The night breeze brushed gently past her, carrying with it the scent of distant cities, the faint aroma of hearth smoke, the mild tang of sea salt, the soft breath of pines on the hillsides. She thought of the stories mortals told about the gods, tales of tempests, clashes, rivalries, great quarrels. Some of those tales held truth, but many grew from the way mortals understood their own world. Humans saw conflict in nature, storms, earthquakes, droughts, and imagined gods behind them, arguing fiercely. Yet the quarrels of Olympus were not always thunderous. More often, they resembled the quiet disagreements of a large, intricate family, each member holding their own sense of justice, their own desires, their own bonds. The gods quarreled because they were deeply connected to the world and to one another. Their immortality did not erase the emotions that shaped existence. Instead, it gave those emotions endless time to rise and settle with the rhythm of ages. Hera continued walking until she reached a small garden tucked against the mountain's curve. Here, olive trees grew in neat, serene rows, their leaves whispering softly as they caught the light breeze. She enjoyed this place, a quiet corner where the grandeur of Olympus softened into a simple, earthly calm. Sitting on a smooth stone bench, she listened to the peaceful rustling around her. The night deepened. Stars drifted across the sky in their eternal, patient paths. Somewhere nearby, Apollo played a soft melody on his lyre, each note floating gently into the air like warm breath. His music carried no tension tonight, only a serene sweetness, the kind that filled the spaces between conversations, smoothing the edges of lingering conflict. A small shape fluttered down beside Hera, an owl, its feathers pale in the moonlight. Athena was near. The goddess of wisdom appeared moments later, stepping into the garden with a quiet grace. Her presence, calm and steady, seemed to settle the air even further. "You sensed the argument earlier," Hera said. Athena gave a small, knowing nod. "It was not serious." "No," Hera agreed, "but even small conflicts reveal large truths." Athena sat beside her. "The gods quarrel because they care about their domains, and because they wish to be recognized." Hera smiled faintly. "Recognition is a powerful desire even among immortals." They sat in silence for a while, listening to the subtle notes of Apollo's lyre. The music wove through the air like a soft thread, connecting the halls of the gods with the quiet world illuminated by moonlight below. Hera reflected on the long, unending tapestry of divine existence. The gods quarreled because they were woven together by family ties, by duties, by overlapping influence in the mortal realm. Their disagreements were not unlike the shifting clouds or the rising and falling tides. Just as nature itself balanced countless forces, Olympus balanced countless personalities and desires. Conflict was part of that balance, not a stormy one, but a gently shifting presence that gave shape to their interactions. Eventually, Hera rose from the bench. Athena remained, the owl resting comfortably at her side. The music from Apollo drifted like a soothing breeze through the garden, and Hera felt the calm of Olympus settling back into place. The quarrel had passed, as so many before it. Another would rise someday, just as naturally, and it too would find its resolution in the slow, steady rhythm of immortal life. As Hera walked back toward her hall, she cast one last glance at the night sky. The stars glimmered quietly, eternal witnesses to the lives of gods and mortals alike. In their silent glow, Hera felt the gentle truth of Olympus, that even divine beings, for all their power, lived in a world shaped as much by emotion as by might. Their quarrels were not signs of chaos, but echoes of their connection to all that lived. And beneath that shimmering sky, the mountain breathed peacefully, its halls of marble filled once more with a calm so deep and steady that even the softest breeze seemed to move in harmony with it.